love the channel and find it useful in becoming a happy retiree. Subscribe today. Craig joins us from Griffin. Craig, what's going on? How can I help? Craig, are you there?
Hey, Wes, good morning. Yeah, I'm here.
Man, as soon as I said hi, it sounded like you fell off the couch, man.
Okay, yeah, sorry about that. I hope not. I'm kind of driving down the highway.
Well, that would be, yeah. Let's hear it. What's going on?
I got a quick question for you. I've been closely monitoring this phenomenon of this Bitcoin and the Bitcoin Trust Funds here over the last couple of weeks. And understanding I'm completely behind the eight ball in terms of the growth and everything. But I just wanted your opinion. I understand it's a risky stock. I was looked at the Bitcoin itself and kind of backed away from that because it didn't seem to be liquid. I wasn't interested in any cryptocurrency. However, I am kind of interested in this, I think it's GBTC. It's a Bitcoin Trust Fund that follows the market and appears to be more liquid.
Well,
but it's really been doing good over the last couple of weeks since I first started monitoring it anyway.
Craig, if you feel like you don't understand it, you're not alone. I was at this defense conference this week, and part of why I wanted to take this call is that we did talk a lot about Bitcoin, and it used to be there was we had a session, a sit down with a non-publicly traded company. So let's call it a startup with a lot of venture backing. Let's call it $50 million of venture backing that is effectively trolling the deep and dark web. Yes, those are two separate things. And tracking criminals all around the world and trying to help law enforcement engage against, in an undercover way on the deep dark web. Sounds like science fiction, but this is the world we live in now, to fight cybercrime and financial crime and theft. Interestingly, Bitcoin has become so mainstream that criminals don't really even use it anymore. So they're going to some of these other currencies in order to process nefarious transactions. That's how mainstream this has become as a payment. But from an investment standpoint, it's a whole nother ballgame. It's very difficult to value. Have you invested in some Bitcoin, or where are you in this?
No, I haven't. I just in the beginning stages of considering it. I've actually had 100% of my 401k, as aggressive as it sounds, it's all been in my company stock, which is Cat stock, which has done great for the last several years.
Oh, you work for Caterpillar?
I do.
Oh, good. Okay.
And I've had 100% of my 401k in there, and it's had a great run. And now I'm finally at the point where I'm considering pulling some of it out and doing something a little different, maybe Bitcoin, maybe some other funds or something.
Well, you bring up, now that you brought up that you work for Caterpillar, there are a couple ways I've seen people really build tremendous wealth. One of them is to start and have your own business. Another one, and this is fairly rare actually, inherit a whole bunch of money. The other one that I see very often is just the ultra disciplined investor that husband, wife, maybe never made more than $120,000, $150,000 a year, but were so disciplined and started early, and they ended up $2-3 million in the bank. Now, that's pretty rare, right? I see that a lot because those are the families that I've tended to work with over the last 20 years. But if you look at that on a percentage basis, Craig, not a lot of Americans get to that point. That's why you hear all these dire statistics about how in America, most people are going to be living on Social Security. Nobody really saves any money. And I can tell you, if you've got $2 or $3 million saved, you're in a very rarefied territory. You're in the upper 1 or 2% of Americans that figured out a way or had the discipline to do it. But the next, and let's call this the third or fourth way I've seen people really build wealth, is working for a great company or a publicly traded company that has either been generous with their stock or had a stock that's done really well. Again, relatively few and far between. It's not like this happens every day. Caterpillar is one of those companies. So if you look at what Cat has done in the last, even 5 years, you're talking about a stock that's gone from $70 to $145 today. And if you look over a longer period of time, you've created tremendous wealth. You go back into the early 90s, Cat was, call it $13. Today it's $145. So that is the kind of opportunity that you've taken advantage of where you can build serious wealth. In my opinion, Bitcoin is not one of those things. In a big company like a Caterpillar, which, since you mentioned that, I've seen this happen with good global brands, U.S. brands. I'd call Cat obviously U.S., but a global company because they sell big orange stuff all over the world. But you have a workforce; they're all working together, day in and day out, to advance the mission of the company, to earn a little bit more next year than this year, to create wealth for their shareholders, to create livelihoods for their employees. And that collectiveness has real value. These are companies that make real profits, real earnings, right? I would contrast that with something like Bitcoin. You're talking about polar opposites. Bitcoin has been an interesting investment because it's gone from, two Papa John's pizzas were what? 10,000 Bitcoin. That was the first transaction. 10,000 Bitcoin for two Papa John's pizzas. Okay. Now you could buy 16 million Papa John's pizzas with that original 10,000 Bitcoin, right? So it has just been this moonshot in such a small period of time. It's fascinating. It's like a bright light, and we're all moths to the light. But at some point, I don't see how the story doesn't end badly. But just like in 1998, as markets were getting overvalued, they kept going and getting more overvalued. 1999, same thing happened. I remember a colleague of mine said, I'm going to short Yahoo. It's crazy. It doesn't really earn much. It should go down. Shorted it. He was right, but his timing was wrong. And he eventually lost just a ton of money because it just continued on. And that could happen here, is what I'm saying, is that Bitcoin could do the very same thing. Bitcoin could continue to stay at this enormous valuation, continue to go, bringing more people into the fold, and then it could end very badly. So we just don't know about the timing. I look at this not as a currency, but like an option or any other really speculative investment. And you just got to be really careful. I have a little bit of Bitcoin. It's obviously worth more today than when I got it. Let's call it close to a year ago. I do not bet my retirement on it. I really don't. I think there's other great investments out there that are plenty risky enough for me and my money that you can still make a wonderful fortune on. And just because it's such a hot topic or a great topic of the day doesn't mean it's going to make a whole lot of new people rich. I could be wrong about that. But in my own opinion, I think there's a lot of other great areas to invest your money in that are 5 and 10 and 20-year investments where Bitcoin is really just the investment of the day. Hi, I'm Wes Moss, and thanks for taking a minute to hear about what's so different about my new book, You Can Retire Sooner Than You Think. So unlike other retirement books, this book will give you a step-by-step guide, whether you're in your 20s or 30s or 40s or 50s, to learn from what these successful and happy retirees did to get there. I hope you enjoy the book, but more importantly, I know that it'll help you retire sooner than you think.